Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here as we wrap up another week, ticking off this first month pretty quickly. If you want to follow along today, we will be in Genesis 14 and looking at just verse number 13. If you will, like, share, comment on the post. And then we read these words. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and of Aner. These were allies of Abram. This is, again, a small verse. It doesn't seem to maybe have a great deal of necessarily theology there. But allow me, if you will, a little latitude to pull out what I believe is a good lesson for us. It's pretty straightforward what happened. Somehow, some way, someone escaped from the invaders, was able to get free in some way and flee. And what he chooses to do is what's interesting, and what I kind of want to focus on this morning. Of all the directions he could have ran, of all the places he could have went, the Bible says he escaped and he came to Abram. The man here that escaped was probably someone who had lived in Sodom and had along the way met Lot and knew of the relationship between Lot and Abram. And so when he escapes, he goes straight to Abram to tell him what's happened and where Lot is. Now, let's think about that for a moment. This man who escaped could have, again, went in any direction he chose. Certainly there were others of importance who had family members who had been captured as well. Certainly there were other people who would be concerned about their loved ones who had been taken captive. But of all the places he could, for that matter, he didn't have to go tell anybody. He could have just gotten, as far from there, put as much distance between him and the invaders as possible. Kind of the old line from, old cartoons and old kind of Western comedies, feet don't fail me now. He could have set out for the next county. He could have, just as far, much distance between him and these folks as humanly possible. But he didn't do that. He went to Abram. He went to this man Abram, who we don't see anything that indicates that he had any prior relationship with Abram. He doesn't mention that he had been a servant of Lot. Just he's about somebody that escaped. And of all the places he could go, he goes and looks up this man Abram. Now, why would he do that? Well, he's obviously trying to get some safety and to be safe, to be protected, to get some help. And to get someone who might be able to go back after the invaders, get their stuff back. My point is this. Of all the places he could have ran, he ran to Abram. That Abram was the man, Abram is the one who this person, this gentleman, I assume, gentleman, decided to go tell. Abram was the one. When there was a crisis, this man wanted to find somebody who was a person of faith, a person of courage, a person he could trust. He could have run to Abram, and Abram could have took him and turned him right back in. But he picked Abram because he knew of Abram's reputation, I believe. Because Abram was a man that he believed could help him, a man that he believed he could put confidence in. I want to suggest to you that people always, in times of crisis, look for this kind of person. They look for a person who they can trust, a person who they believe will help them, a person, that's common sense, right? You don't go look for somebody who's going to get you in more trouble. You look for somebody that can help. And my challenge to us today is that we be that person. Somebody around us is always dealing with death, with sickness, with pain, with hurt. They're all around us. Let's be that person in our families, in our workplace, in our community, that when their world falls apart, they come to us, and it gives us the opportunity to be a witness, a tool, a servant of God, and represent Him well. People always look for somebody of faith and courage. They may not say it that way, but that's who they're looking for when their world falls apart. Let's work to be that kind of person in our relationships. You think about it. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.